it has been proven to me yet that how that dollar has broken down to the $36 million.
You were at a meeting last night when it was broken down, what we were going to do.
There was no dollar amounts really. It was just a matter of simply, this is what we're going to do in order to get our streets to maintenance levels.
And the cost was there. And the cost was outlined last night, and it was in Ward 2 and Ward 3 where this money and the...
Primarily in Ward 2 and Ward 3, right.
Yes, and it was outlined how what the total cost was. I don't know what the total
But I'm looking at the whole picture, the big picture.
We're just talking about this coming year. We don't know whether the sales tax will pass.
But the sales tax, I mean, if we're going to ask the people to pay it, then they're going to want to know for what, for how long.
You know, the people are the ones who are going to vote for the sales tax, not the council.
And we just need to have some parameters set.
Yes,
if I may, what I just heard Will say is of deep concern to me as well. I would echo that. But as a council member, if I want to forward a sales tax to the people to vote on, I will make it very clear what we're asking the money for and what that's going to go to. I don't think it's fair to the citizens in this city to send a sales tax ballot to them without making that very clear on how the money's going to go to. I couldn't agree with you more on that one point.
And a sunset.
Well, that's a philosophical question. I personally would advocate a 10-year sunset because I'd want the voters to have an opportunity to renew that sales tax, but that's just me. What's unclear to me, Will, and I think your question gets to the point, is if we were going to forward a quarter-cent sales tax to the voters, what are we asking them to do that with, and does that somehow tie into TUF? Which is what you're trying to ask.
Exactly. And how can we decrease TUF by supplementing it with the sales tax?
Well, again, if you want to, in my opinion,
we're already getting $830,000 from TUF.
yes.
Okay, so now we're going to be saying, well, oh no, we're going to keep TUF, but let's just go ahead and add another $500,000 per year to that.
Well, first of all, we're not, at least from my perspective, if we were to forward a sales tax to the voters, I don't think you can legally tie that to an annual allocation in the budget related to TUF or property tax. But if you wanted to look at the big picture, which I heard you say you did, and if you want to fix the streets, which is currently estimated $1.5 million now a year. Now, I agree that those are estimates, and when you actually send projects out to bid, you don't know what they're going to cost.
Case in point, I mean, and you saw the map too. When it was brought up, when we were asked a month ago to look at, because Prairie Village wanted to redo mill down and overlay 63rd Street, okay? And we brought out that map, the big map, and a certain section of that portion between Rowe and Knoll was a big red section. Yeah. And that was supposed to be, you know, devastating. Oh, it needs to be rebuilt. But then we're told by Leslie, oh, no, it's not as bad. It's not that bad. Well, now what are we supposed to take from this estimate of $1.5 million a year when we're told, oh, well, you know, it's really not that bad there. We can mill it and overlay it. Well, and so my confidence level in this assessment that has been done is really low.
I was there for that conversation. I remember it vividly. I thought you asked some very good questions that night of how do we interpret these different colors on these maps as it relates to PCI. And I think there is an ongoing challenge to understand what red means, what yellow means, and
well, if red means that it's supposed to be, you know, a really low point and needs to be rebuilt, and a mill and overlay is going to be okay, then
red doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be rebuilt.
Well, then what does it necessarily mean?
It means that it's under 20. It means it's under 20 is what it means.
That's what I don't. There's no. I can't understand the assessment if the assessment doesn't mean anything.
So
if it doesn't have any true standing in what it is telling us.
So it sounds like, as a council member, you'd like a higher level of engineering education, someone to come, a consultant to come and share with us those ideas. Is that what you're suggesting?
We can't hear him.
I think some of this stuff needs to be done on a case-by-case basis. And when we had, there were people on our staff in the past that made excellent assessments as to what needed to be done with the roads. We had a road program every year. It was brought before the council. We wanted to mill down these roads and overlay them. We want to do these curbs in this
Actually,
section.
quarterly. Remember, they were bringing it, we had quarterly reports, because that's the biggest complaint I had. Get the roads fixed. My car is being fixed
And-
on a 6-month basis because I'm getting in dips all the time. I had those complaints.
Somewhere in my, not being on the council from 2003 on, that had gone by the wayside. And now we're in this rut. Surveys and assessments have been done to our streets that I can't believe in, because it tells me one thing and then the city tells me another. So,
Again, I've had some of the same questions you had, trying to understand the reports that have been given to us. You know, at the end of the day, I recognize that I'm not a transportation engineer, and these things are difficult to interpret. And I've interpreted some of the results wrong, and it's taken me asking questions to clarify what these reports actually mean. That's a difficult challenge for all of us. I mean, I sympathize there with you. But at the end of the day, what's important to me is knowing we're hiring professionals to do this work. It doesn't mean it's 100% correct. I don't think any professional is going to get us 100% correct. I agree with you that we need to continually reassess, continue to ask those questions, to continue to delve down deeper, to make sure we're making the best decisions we can for our citizens, for our roads. That's part of our job as council members. And part of the job is hiring staff to do that.
well,
We're on the same page there, Bill.
I mean, so far there's been not yet once a staff recommendation to do any road improvement this year.
Into the 2010
Mhm.
year. Because there's no funds in the budget. Council didn't fund that last year. So how can staff make that recommendation when council doesn't put it in the budget? We put it in the
Sorry,
budget.
I did not know it wasn't in the budget for this year.
Now, it was put in the 2011 budget, and as you heard last night, there will be staff recommendations to council in the spring, based on my understanding, what I heard last night, that we will be doing some roads in 2011.
I understand,
For the
I
first time.
understand.
Residential roads for the
The
first time in a while.
2010 budget is available for you to go through anytime, and I know Mike or Leslie or anybody would be happy to discuss what.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to Leslie on certain things related to roads or infrastructure, and the answer is, you don't have any budget for that. We'd love to get out there and fix it, we don't have the budget. And I'm tired of hearing that we don't have the budget. When it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to our roads, we need to fix these things, in my opinion. And if that's the council responsibility to get it in the budget so staff can do the work, that's what we need to do.
I don't disagree with you.
And
But
so,
I'm still getting back to one of the original tenets of this here.
If I understand you correctly, you want, if we have the sales tax, a quarter cent, you want us to take away that much money at a time, is that correct?
Fair enough.
I mean, that's the bottom line of this discussion.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any? I mean, this is a discussion item, and the committee can discuss whatever. Do you have any discussing, Debbie?
No, I think one of the things, and I think you've made some good points, Will, and I think you're trying to look out for your constituents, and I think we all are in our own way. But I think one of the premises of what this governing body stands for, whether we agree, disagree, at the end of the day, is everybody wants what's best for the city. And when you have a 50-plus-year-old infrastructure, streets are going to decay, and we have decaying streets. What should have been done 20 years ago is somebody put something into place. So if we were on the council and could have hindsight from 20 years ago, that's what should have been done. It wasn't. It's no one's fault. No one's pointing fingers at people, but it's 20 years later and we don't have it in place. And we have a decaying infrastructure, if you will. And I don't think one person will stand up here and say, I don't want the roads fixed, but they will say, I don't want you spending the money on them. And we're trying to do a balancing act. Nobody here wants people mad at them because we're spending money. Nobody. An elected official doesn't want that, nor does any just you know, buddy walking on the street. You don't want people mad at you for that. But one of the key things that we do when we go into these positions is make a commitment to doing what's best on behalf of the city, and the city infrastructure is what holds this community together. People can't get from one point to another, one block to another, without being able to drive on the roads. It's a basic issue. You know, the community center is beautiful, but it's not the primary reason we're here. The primary reason we're here, safety and infrastructure. And if we have to do away at some point, for some odd reason, those are the two things I think that we make a commitment to the community to keep up. We have to.
John?
I wasn't going to say nothing, but, you know, I tell you what, you say the people want this and they want that and all this and that. What they want to see is the infrastructure. They don't want to see all these damn trails. They don't want to see these beautiful 8-foot wide sidewalks down there. We don't want to see all these gorgeous light poles down there that you got to take a flashlight. You got to take a flashlight to see if they're burning, but they are very decorative. They're looking at the way we spend the money and what we spend it for. That's what they're looking at.
I understand that.
Okay, not some of this other stuff.
But that's not all the people, John.
That's a hell of a lot of them.
Everybody.
We're going to have to be quiet and listen to the council. They're the only ones who can talk, the committee. Any other comments, Lauren?
You know, Will, I hear your question, and I might look at it, in your brain, I hear your question doing some addition and subtraction with TUF and the sales tax. The way I kind of look at it is, through all the public meetings, we heard a lot of passion in 2010 on this subject. But I can't say every single person I heard talk on this subject agreed, but I think almost every one, I heard an overwhelming support for a sales tax, a quarter-cent. Some even suggested a half-cent.
If it was going to eliminate or alleviate the TUF.
I mean, in any regard, whether there was TUF or no TUF, whether the city council passed TUF, didn't pass TUF, I think almost every single person that weighed in said a quarter-cent sales tax, pretty good. Some of these other options, there was some disagreement on that. A lot of disagreement, let's put it out there that way. So the way I look at it, you know, you look at it a little differently, that's fine, is that I heard an overwhelming support for a quarter-cent sales tax on the roads. I would agree with that. Then how do you get...
Excuse me, who did you hear that?